Fred, thank you very much for that introduction. And no, Fred, for the 1000th time, I'm not going to be singing tonight. You're very fortunate, and actually I'm surprised that anybody who was there that night came back to this gala. It's a real pleasure to be here this evening for the announcement of the campaign for the Brent Scowcroft Center on International Security, and to be named as its first chairman designate. I'm deeply honored to be part of building this center, which will not only pay tribute to one of the great statesmen of our time, but will also position this organization to shape the international security debate for decades to come. The Atlantic Council is launching the Scowcroft Center to help the transatlantic community adjust to a rapidly evolving landscape marked by new centers of power, influential non-state actors and technology, and non-traditional security threats. Addressing these complex challenges requires serious, nonpartisan, and inclusive debate that can help devise the proper strategies for success. It requires a strategic engagement of new partners and a broadening of the transatlantic dialogue on security to confront borderless threats and tackle our common challenges. It also requires wisdom and humility to look at the world for the way it is, to better make it more like the world we want it to be, and it requires very strong and principled U.S. leadership in the world to advance not only our own interests and values, but to make the world a safer place, which is essentially what American leadership in the 21st century will be about. So in essence, the world today and the world of the future needs a Brent Scowcroft. And we are creating this center to embody the values and approach that have defined this remarkable American's peerless career, earned him the respect of Republicans and Democrats in America and statesmen all over the world, and made him the point of reference for national security advisors, not just in the United States, but in a growing number of countries that seek to build a national security process in the mold created by Brent Scowcroft. This center will build on the Council's important traditions of fostering nonpartisan dialogue by aggregating best thinkers and producing policy-relevant programming that responds to the needs of decision makers, by expounding the Council's scope of activities on international security to address the complex new threats and study new regions. The center will serve as an intellectual resource for the transatlantic community as it seeks to transform itself for the challenges of a new era. I can think of no more worthy cause than to associate the name of Brent Scowcroft than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce someone who has been a mentor and a close friend for many years, and I was fortunate enough to be the recipient of his wise counsel in the days leading up to my accepting President Obama's offer to become his national security advisor. And throughout the time I was in office, I was deeply grateful to him for his having graciously agreed to serve as an anchor donor for the new Scowcroft Center of International Security Forum. And I'm proud to introduce now a gentleman who will join me in playing a leading role in the campaign for the Scowcroft Center. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Lund. Thank you.
Thank you, General Jones. I am honored to serve as the Vice Chairman of the Scowcroft Center and in leading this campaign with General Jones, and to be with all of you for this extraordinary evening. When Fred Kemp approached me about building the Scowcroft Center, I saw immediately the great importance of this campaign and was motivated not only to take on a leading role in this campaign, but also to make a founding commitment to the center. In doing so, I am privileged to join President George H.W. Bush and others who have stepped forward to make founding gifts to the campaign. And I look forward to visiting with many of you about it. This is a fundraiser, after all. We are also announcing tonight the establishment of the Scowcroft Center's first chair, and it's named in memory of Arnold Cantor, Thanks to the... That's right. And even better, it is due to the friendship, generosity, and love of Brent Scowcroft himself that this chair has been established. And through this chair, we'll continue to remember Arnie for his brilliant insights, kindly ways, provocative thoughts, generous humor, demanding standards, and his universal readiness to help in any cause, great or small. It is especially wonderful to have his family with us this evening, Anne, Noah, and Claire Cantor, and if they're out there, maybe we can say hello to them. And now to the business at hand. Tonight we are launching this campaign and founding this center to pay tribute to General Scowcroft. I know he would like me to keep this short, but there's no such luck tonight, my friend. General Scowcroft is a soldier with a distinguished 29-year military career that concluded with his retirement from the Air Force as Lieutenant General. He is a statesman who, as National Security Advisor to President George H.W. Bush and Gerald Ford, and Deputy National Security Advisor to President Nixon, managed the national security and foreign policy process for 3 different presidents, a record without parallel in American history. General Scowcroft is a scholar who holds a doctorate from Columbia and served as professor of Russian history at West Point. He is an inspiring leader who for over 30 years has provided vision, energy, and direction, serving as a board member, then chair, and now still chairing its International Advisory Committee for the Atlantic Council. Perhaps most importantly, he is the consummate gentleman, always treating everyone with the highest respect and regard, from the commander-in-chief and foreign dignitaries to personal staff and interns. It is in honor of that Brent Scowcroft, the soldier, the statesman, the mentor, the leader, and the gentleman, a man that so many of us in this room and around the world cherish and love, that we are building this center that will bear his name. It is my great pleasure to introduce General Brent Scowcroft.
I'm not the vice president. You don't have to stand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My humble thanks to you both, George and Jim, for your kind and overly generous remarks. You're both longtime dear friends, and I'm grateful for your loyalty and commitment to the Atlantic Council and your leadership in helping to build this center. I'm also deeply touched by the steps taken, which I'm happy to support, for the Arnold Cantor Center, chair for the center, to commemorate the man who was a visionary leader for us all, and particularly for me. It is a special honor for me to have my name associated with the Atlantic Council's work on international security. Those of you who know me realize I try to avoid this sort of thing. So I hope it tells you all how enthusiastic I am about the Atlantic Council at this point of history. I'm deeply touched by the new Center on International Security because I believe a new and complex security agenda is impossible to achieve without fresh and innovative transatlantic thinking, which is what this new Atlantic Council is all about. In today's globalized world, and that's a much overworked word, but it really is true, as the Arab Spring has showed us. It's marked by borderless threats, rising powers, empowered non-state actors. In this kind of a world, it's more important, more essential than ever that we take care of this, our closest and most important relationship and community of common values. We, after all, are the people who have a common view of man and his relationship to society and government. But equally important will be the task of establishing deeper relationships, partnerships with emerging powers outside the Euro-Atlantic area, whose cooperation will be essential for building this new, safer world. I look forward to watching the Center become a leading source of bipartisan intellectual leadership in helping to renovate the transatlantic security military relationship for what our distinguished military leadership award Admiral Jim Stavridis refers to as the new world. And that is true in every respect. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you this evening Mr. Baha Hariri, a prominent business leader, visionary philanthropist, and the eldest son of former Lebanese Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri. He's the founding sponsor of the new Rafiq Hariri Center on the Middle East at the Atlantic Council. The Hariri Center will pay tribute to the legacy of Rafiq Hariri, who was tragically assassinated in 2005 at the pinnacle of an illustrious career as statesman, businessman, and philanthropist. A self-made man, Rafiq Hariri was the epitome of reform in the Middle East. He advocated for political plurality, economic progress, and rejected the sectarian divisions that so trouble the region. The center will work to bring North Africa, Europe, and the Middle East closer together and further political progress, regional integration, and economic reform across the region as a whole. Crucial to the center's creation was the leadership of the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, the eminent Shaukat Aziz, who, as a member of the Council's International Advisory Board, and together with Fred Kemp and Baha Hariri, developed the vision for this new center. It is now my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce to you the founding sponsor of the Rafiq Hariri Center, Baha Hariri.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to attend the annual Atlantic Council Gala and be present in your midst tonight. The Middle East is an important part of the world and is facing numerous challenges. I cannot think of a better time to be part of the Atlantic Council's initiative to launch the Rafiq Hariri Center for the Middle East, which will focus on the challenges and opportunities facing the Middle East and North Africa region. Through the center, we will work on the convergence of efforts between the US, Europe, and Russia, and our region, to move towards our ambitious but definitely attainable objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, my late father, Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri, believed in peace, harmony, and tolerance, and he gave his life promoting the cause of peace in the region. The setting up of this center is a tribute to his efforts, and I am proud to be part of this very important initiative. Let me conclude by thanking the Atlantic Council, Brent Scowcroft, Chuck Hagel, Fred Kemp, and my friend Shaukat Aziz for their effort to make the Rafiq Hariri Center a reality. Thank you.
Baha, thank you for your great commitment and support. I think those of us who have met your father, and I did as a Wall Street Journal correspondent when he was a business leader, know what a tragedy it was for the region, his death, but we also know what you've entrusted to the Atlantic Council. We know how to value that, so thank you very much. So I want to invite up to the stage those who were crucial and will be crucial to the future of these two centers. So General Scowcroft, if you could come back for a moment. General Jones, Baha Hariri, Shaukat Aziz, and George Lund. If you could please join me on stage. I think they're going to come back here. We're just going to have while you're applauding them and thanking them for this initiative, we'll also have a couple of photos taken of them, unless, of course, they've all kind of disappeared to celebrate somewhere else.
Thank you, Fred.
I think they are coming. Joe and Mika, what do you do at a moment like this? There we go. They're coming. There we go. So.